So in last week, in the last part, we introduced how to call a simple API, and we got this kind of formatted JSON, right? And we then introduced how you should deal with the JSON, right? So there is multiple steps. Step one, you should write the model to represent the JSON object. And step two, you should decode the JSON into pure Swift model object. And then step three is how you wrote your logic code with your own, right? So that's what we are going to cover today, is how we are going to decode the JSON into the Swift object. Okay. So that's our today's content. It's called JSON encoding and decoding. Okay. So what is encoding and decoding? So encoding is area in program, right? So a common task for iOS apps is to save the data and send it over the internet. Okay. So but before we can do that, we need to convert the data. So this is the data, right? So this is the data that we create in our like we create a class called employee, right? Name and employee ID. And we need to convert this data using some kind of encoder and to a suitable format that can be sent over the internet, right? Which is JSON in most cases. So this kind of process, we call it encoding or serialization. Okay. So next time you heard someone talking about serialization, this is what it is. Okay. It's just a alternative way of saying encoding. Okay. And more often, like when we receive data from the internet, we got this kind of weird like raw data, right? So we need to use the exactly same decoder as the encoder, right? So JSON encoder, JSON decoder, right? It has to be the same kind of set, right? So you use some kind of decoder to decode the pure data into the object in Swift. Okay, so this reverse process is called decoding or deserialization. Okay, so this is a concept. How we can do it in the Swift? Let's go into the demo. Okay, so I have uploaded the last week's program called Lab 3 Closure API program. If you have last one, you can use yours, or you can use this one I uploaded. Okay, I opened the Swift file that we left last week. Okay, so we have introduced closure and API code, and we will start writing from here. Okay, lab 4. How we are going to do it? Okay, JSON decoding. Okay, so let's first define a class like this, right? Employee. Okay. Let us define a struct called employee, and we give it a name called string, and we give it a ID called int, and then maybe we give it a favorite toy, another string property. Okay, so we just define a struct. Okay, and let's create a object from it, a employee, lower cases. Okay, equal employee. Okay, and name draw, ID maybe 7, and the favorite toys teddy bear. Okay, let's print out. You can see that we just print employee. Okay. So also disable this one. So this is the first step. Create a class in Swift. Okay. So now the second one, we want to create a encoder, more specifically JSON encoder. Okay. So let us create an encoder called encoder equal JSON encoder. Okay. If you are starting with a blank cell, so make sure you import a foundation in the very beginning. Where, okay, because some function is inside here, so you can import here, but it's better if you import in the beginning. Okay. So now we have like a object and we have a encoder, and now we want to do the process of encoding. Okay, which is very straightforward. You just call, okay, the third step is encoding. Define a variable called data to receive the encoded data. Okay, you just call encoder dot encode. Okay, very straightforward, right? You want a value where we pass the object we just create into it. You got this error, and it says employee does not convert to the expected of encodable. Okay, so which is mean that when you call this function, you see, it wants to the variable, the parameter that it passed is some kind of encodable. This is called like a protocol. You can think of it as some kind of class inheritance, which is kind of the same thing, but have some difference. Okay, so basically it means he wants you pass something that has encodable as its parent class or protocol. Okay, so the employee here do not have the encodable, so we have to add this into the struct that we created. Okay, so we add encodable, right? And it is still cannot pass. It says call can through, but it's not marked with try. And there is something called, did you mean use try? 6. Yeah. So you click this 6, it will add this try keyword in front of what you write. So why does this need to try? Because when you think about it, you want to encode something. This encoder only deals, like, let's say it's only deals with string or int or some kind of object. You throw anything into it, it may fail, right? So this is all that we often see, that this operation may fail, right? So that's why you need to do error handling. And one way to do error handling is the thing called through here. So it threw some exception, and when it already handled the error, so what you need to do is add this try keyword in front of it. Means that, okay, you are notified, okay, this operation may fail, but you just want to try. This is what this means. Okay, which you also did something like, if something happened, you just exit the program, right? So this is the data. Let's see what it is. Okay. Okay, this is we already go through the whole process. Okay. Into this kind of data. Let's look at what it is. Okay. We print this data, which has encoded by the JSON encoder. It is only print some 49 bytes, right? If you print the type of it, it will tell you it is the data. This is the raw data. It's binary code, right? Binary data, right? We do not use. However, this is the data that is the same that we print last week, right? So there is the data returned by the URL, right? Remember? There is the data, and we check if the data is new. If it is not new, we print this kind of data. Let's see what it is. So if we print this data, you see this is the data here. Okay, why can I see that? So why this line of code executed first and this line of code execute second? This is from internet, right? This line run immediately because it's local, right? And we want to fetch some data, and this is what it called completion handler. It's asynchronous, right? So when the data received, this line of code will execute it. Okay. If you remember last time how we deal this raw data, right? We add this line of code, right? So we convert it into string using this string data colon data encoding dot UTF-8, which is the encoding format that is widely used worldwide. Okay, so then we can print the data string here. Okay, so let's comment this thing and copy this line of code and also comment it out. And we add this code here. Okay, so if like data string equal string data UTF-8, then print data string. So let's see what it is after change it to string. This is what it looks like after encoding. This is exactly what is a JSON string. Okay. Okay. See, it has the same format that we talked about the last time, right? So the key value here. Okay. So this is how we do the encoding process, right? So we successfully encode the object into JSON object. Okay, and it just looks this, and it is no different if we just wrote this line of code, right? If we just wrote this line of code, this is string, right? Manually by ourselves, okay? No difference, right? JSON string and this. So now we are going to convert the saved data over the net to a suitable format, decode into our object. Okay? So how can we do that? Decoding, right? So let's say we already got the data here. So the first step is we already done, right? So we need to define a decoder. Okay, it's also very straightforward. We just define a decoder equal JSON. You got it, right? JSON decoder, and we want to decode the JSON into Swift object. Okay, so it's also a straightforward process. We just define a variable like maybe decoded object, right? Equal same format, right? try because it's also dangerous. Try yes, decoder, okay, decoder dot decode. Okay, so you can see decode the top level value of given data from given JSON representation. Okay, you see this time is a little more complicated, right? So let's see. So it wants the data, which is no problem, right? We have the data, we give it the data. However, it also needs a type which convert to decodable protocol. So why he is looking this? Okay, so when we convert anything to JSON, right? So the encoder do not need to know which it want to convert, right? Because it can only decode to JSON, right? Encode to JSON. However, when decode, it needs to know what kind of representation you have in Swift, right? So it has to know the structure in your class, in able to convert successfully. Okay, makes sense. So that's why he needs your type, right? Need your class type. So here we passed our class employee type here. So the type employee is not type. Employee is our class name. So we got the type by calling dot cell. See, the return is employee dot type. Okay, this is just a weird syntax that you have to use to get the type. The type, literally the type. Okay. So we got this decoder. However, if we run it, it will give a error which is telling that the required employee conform to decodable. Okay, the same problem that we encountered earlier. So we just add this decodable into the employee. Okay. However, there is a more convenient way. It's called, so if you code CODA, there is thing called codable. And you can see this thing called decodable and encodable, which is exactly what we need, right? So we only, instead of saying encodable and decodable, we just specify codable here, okay? And we delete this two. Okay, so this is the shortcut equal encodable and decodable. Okay, and we can run again. Okay, you can check here under this preview, right? It's already converted back to draw teddy bear. Okay, and this is how you convert the code JSON data into Swift object. Okay, and you can also like decode the JSON string into Swift object. Okay, so let's see, we have a data string here, right? This is something, let's say we got from internet or we wrote our own as test. Okay, we can give it a new name, Mark, new ID, and maybe new yellow duck, maybe new favorite toy. Okay, so how can we convert this string into the Swift object? Okay, so it's a little awkward because we have to convert the string first into the data and then using the same technique here. Okay, so we want first convert this JSON data, which equals JSON string dot. So the string has a method called data, and you specify the encoding format, which is UTF-8, right? This is the data, raw data, binary data, okay, of this string. And okay, and another, okay, decoded from JSON string object. Okay, very long awkward name, which is common in Swift. And we got this JSON data, and we're just using the same sentence here. Okay. Try decode employee from JSON data. Okay. Now we print out. You see, successfully we got employee name Mark, ID 10, favorite toy, yellow dot in the end. And its type is employee, which is pure Swift object that we want to use, we want to see. Okay. So this is how you, okay, cool, thanks, Tom. So this is how you decode the JSON into object. And you use this line of code where, I hope you guys have a clue now. You use this line of code, right? You use this line of code, right, in here. Okay. So instead, we just printed it out. Instead, we convert the JSON into object here. Okay. This is how you got the object from JSON. However, you need to, like, okay, there is no decoder. You have to declare a decoder, right? However, you need to confirm that the JSON structure has the same structure with yours, right? What I mean here, this JSON has this kind of column, this kind of property. In order to let it automatically convert, you have to write the same thing. However, there is a way you can write on your own and let you decide manually. Let's say, okay, let me cut this line of code, this chunk of code, and pass it here. Or I should copy this as well. Okay, this is how we got the object from the internet. Okay, and then now we need to define a new struct object, right? And we do the same way we do here, right? Codable, right? So codable. Okay, this is why I said you to guess previously you need a kind of online formatter. So otherwise, like, right? So if I do it this way, it's kind of hard, right? So I have to do okay, this one I used the last time. Okay, we got this thing we want. We want to know the struct that here, right? So the first way we can do it is using this, right? So a copyright. So sometimes if you are not confident whether it will have value or have nil, you have to give it question mark, right? So, but in this case, I just assume it has. Okay, so let's say we want the title. Okay, the title. So basically, this is how you design. This is the process how you design your object, right? You just copy the thing you are interested. Okay, here. But I would like something. Okay, I would like something here. This one. So you just for the teaching purpose. Okay, so why I need this one, you will know in a minute. Okay, so we surely we want that the URL, right, which is very important. See, so you just cherry pick the ones that you want. So we want copyright, title, URL, and meta tag, right? So you just cherry pick what you want here, and to give it a program. You don't need to coding everyone. Okay, so we delete everything here. Okay, we now got the object. Here we change this employee into NASA. Okay, and then we print this thing out. Next, we can print title, right? Meta tag. Okay, you have to use this try. Okay. Okay, cool. So guys, this is how you decode the JSON into object. So this is not the right way, right? If the right way is, you have to wrap it a little. Like I said, never use the exclamation mark, but yeah, sometimes it's very annoying. Yeah, so this is how you convert this JSON into object. And sometimes, like, you just drop the colon, the value p word you do not want. And sometimes that the naming convention is different. You see, there's a first underscore name. And in iOS, we often use the camera style, which is first upper class n and lower case English characters. Okay, so how do you dealing with this is what we need to this thing called coding keys. Okay, so what I mean is here, that's why I pick up this thing. So you see that in the JSON, it is called media underscore type. This is called snake. Okay, snake style, which is this way. It's often you often see this thing in Python, right? And but in iOS Swift, we use media type. Okay, this is called camera style, right? It's this thing. Okay, you see the difference, right? So in order to make your code consistent, everyone name their variable this way. So if you named your variable like this way, it will become very uncomfortable to other people who collaborate with you. If you're working alone, it's fine. However, I still suggest that you following the naming convention, which sometimes can cause you a big problem if you don't follow them. Okay, it's not a naming convention anymore at that time. Okay, so in order to conquer this kind of issue, so we need to if we use this thing, it will not work. Okay, you see that the name is different now. Okay, so we do it again. So we do it again, right? It failed, right? It says another object has no member media underscore type, right? You see, we have media uppercase type. It's not work. You have to be matched. It's how the program works. Okay, so in order to conquer this issue, that's why the people in Apple, they came out with this idea of coding keys. It's very straightforward, just to solve this issue. Let's see how it works. Okay, So you just add this inner code, coding coding keys, string coding key case. If it's the same, you don't need to do anything, but you still need to copy the thing here. Okay. What I mean is like this. Okay. However, this one, see, equal, right? So equal media. Okay, that's it. Let's run it again. It should work like a charm like before. Okay? Okay, sorry. This one. Sorry. See how you do the map the JSON object to native Swift, and during the column you do not want and the column that name is different, and the whole process called decoding. And then we also covered what is encoding, and then you know exactly what this kind of thing is about. Okay, I hope you guys have a clear understanding of all this process, which is very essential in the following.